Hello, fans, collectors, investors. Welcome back to Iconic Baseball. I'm Iconic Al, and it is getting real. We are in the top one-third of my countdown as of today. Number 33 on my countdown is perhaps the greatest peak pitcher in baseball history, probably the finest 6-year run we've ever seen out of any pitcher. One of the greatest left-handed pitchers the game has ever seen, and his postseason numbers are just silly. We'll go into that later. We're talking about a guy who won 3 Cy Young Awards, 5 ERA titles, and despite an elbow injury that cut his career short, he established himself as basically the pitcher of a generation. I'm talking, of course, about the great Sandy Koufax.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Sandy Koufax on a night that maybe God himself created especially for his own left arm. Batter after batter, Koufax was pitching with mastery, precision, concentration, and a fastball that split the night. With his handheld camera, the Dodgers trainer was capturing history.
The left arm of God. This man never pitched an inning in the minor leagues. We are looking at possibly the greatest peak talent in baseball history. With all due respect to Pedro Martinez, who I covered about a month ago. When you factor in his postseason numbers, his cultural significance in the Jewish community, and his hobby mojo, how collected and how relevant is he in the hobby? You have to say that Sandy Koufax is without a doubt one of the top 3 greatest and most iconic left-handed pitchers in baseball history. He compiled 48.9 WAR over a career that was shortened due to an elbow injury. But during that career, he sported a 2.76 ERA, a 1.106 WHIP, a record of 165 wins to 87 losses. In his 2,324 innings, he struck out 2,396. His ERA plus of 131 tells you how great and dominant he truly was. But in his peak years, for example, 1963, he posted a 10.7 WAR season. In 1966, a 10.3 WAR season. So very few pitchers have ever been as dominant as Sandy Koufax was. He was a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 1-time MVP, 5 times he won the ERA title, 3 times he won the pitching Triple Crown, a 7-time All-Star, and that's to say nothing about the fact that he was a devastating postseason pitcher. Just devastating. In 57 innings, he had a .95 ERA and a .825 WHIP. We're talking about an ERA and a WHIP under 1 in the postseason, leading his Dodgers to 3 World Series championships, 2 of which he won the World Series MVP. This was a special player. He may not have had a long compiling career, but he made his mark, and he played long enough to show just how good he was. Okay, I have 4 Sandy Koufax items here in my collection, 2 of which have been with me for about 25 years, and 2 of which are slightly newer additions. Let's start from the beginning. This is my Koufax single sign baseball. Really nice. I'm not going to take it out of the holder because it's sort of sealed in there. It's a graded baseball. So the signature has been graded near mint 8 by PSA. Beautiful sweet spot signature in ballpoint for Sandy Koufax. He has a very attractive signature, and it's an autograph that always commands a premium. I'll compare him to sort of Derek Jeter in that there is no such thing as a cheap Sandy Koufax autograph. They just always seem to command a premium. He doesn't and hasn't signed a lot in his career or life, and the demand always seems to outstrip the supply. So therefore, Sandy Koufax signatures always seem to bring a premium in the marketplace. So I'm very happy to have that single signed ball in my collection. Next up, we have a glorious 1956 Topps Grayback Sandy Koufax, second year. And this is a beautiful example of a low-grade, high eye appeal card. It's a good reminder that low grade doesn't mean low eye appeal or low quality. There are some creases on this card. I bought this ungraded probably 25 years ago. I probably paid $40 for it and graded it more recently, but look at that card. I mean, it's beautifully centered, great color, nothing that really jumps out in terms of paper loss or anything unpleasant. So here's a really good example where, you know, a savvy collector can pick up a low-grade card that looks just phenomenal. Always love that card. And as we move more into Koufax's prime, this is a great example of a 1962 Topps Sandy Koufax. In a higher grade, this is a PSA 6 that is uncharacteristically well-centered for this set. Very hard to find well-centered examples of 62 Topps cards. But this is my only 62 Topps in my collection, and very happy that it is Mr. Koufax in this really nice example. And this is sort of right when his prime started. I mean, he really took off in 61, 62. And finished very strong. And then last, but certainly not least, a set that I talk about all the time. The 98 Donruss signature, significant signature. Maybe one of the nicest on-card autos released in this decade. A refractor auto of Sandy Koufax, which is weird to say. But my God, a really nice, clean autograph there with a nice shine to it. So shiny, as Pepito Man would say. Graded a 9. Both the auto and the card, numbered to 2000. And it's just a really glorious card. I love it. But that's what I have for Mr. Koufax. Sincere thanks, everyone, for tuning in and watching the countdown. It has been my pleasure to share my collection, and I only get more and more pumped to do every episode as I move up the list here. So stay tuned. Until next time, keep collecting and stay iconic.